Good morning. Today, inshallah, we are going to start our first session related to the novel Wuthering Heights. Before we start, we want to know about Emily Bronte, the writer of the novel. She was born in 1847. She was an English novelist and poet who wrote a single novel, Wuthering Heights. It is a highly imaginative work of passion and hate. It received terrible reviews when first published, but came to be considered one of the finest novels in the English language. First, we are going to know about Wuthering Heights. It is written by Emily Bronte. It is a novel, Romance 1. It was published 1847. The setting in the novel is the moors of northern England. And the main characters are Heathcliff, Catherine, Ernest Shaw, Edgar Linton, and Kathy Linton. Major thematic topics are love versus hate, revenge, suffering, class structure, good versus evil, selfishness, betrayal, and opposition. Our events take place in two houses. The first one is Wuthering Heights. It represents here the stark and cold, and the other scene is about Thrushcross Grange, warm and inviting place. The characters in Wuthering Heights, we have Mr. Ernest Shaw and old Mrs. Ernest Shaw. By the way, they do not mention to Mrs. Ernest Shaw in the novel at all because she is already dead, but Mr. Ernest Shaw will be in our first and second chapter. He has two sons, Hindley and Catherine. We have Hindley and Catherine, and Hindley later will marry Francis, and later they will have a son and call him Harriton. This is about Wuthering Heights family, okay? The second place is Thrushcross Grange. We have here old Mr. Linton and old Mrs. Linton. They have two kids, Edgar Linton and Isabella Linton. Then Edgar will marry Catherine and they will have Kathy Linton. Later, Isabella will marry Heathcliff, the gypsy boy, and they will have a boy called Linton as his grandfather. First character, or our main character, Catherine, she is Heathcliff's best childhood friend and true love. Catherine was also often very selfish. She grew up getting everything she wanted. Her selfishness ended up hurting everyone she loved, including herself. Her selfishness led her to go against her heart and soul and choose Edgar Linton over Heathcliff. She died in a very young age. Heathcliff fell in love with Mr. Earnshaw's daughter, who is called Catherine. After Mr. Earnshaw died, his son Hindley abused Heathcliff and treated him as a servant and in a very bad way, which led him to spend the rest of his life in revenge. A powerful, fierce, and often cruel man, Heathcliff acquired a fortune and used his extraordinary power of will to put both his hands on Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. So he will be the owner of Thrushcross Grange and Wuthering Heights later. Wuthering Heights themes, we have here love, revenge, family, suffering, social classes. Like as you know, we have two different places. We have Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. So we have lower class and upper class. Love between Heathcliff and Catherine, the main theme of Wuthering Heights. This is the main theme of Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights has been considered as one of the greatest love stories of all time. They had deep and sincere love for each other. They spent most of their childhood with one another. Revenge and suffering. Violence brings violence. People become revengeful when they are ill-treated in their childhood, as it happened with Heathcliff. Heathcliff first made Hindley pay by making him homeless, and then keeping Harriton away from the social world. This is some kind of revenge from Heathcliff on Hindley, because he treated him the same way when Mr. Earnshaw died. Social classes and family. In the 18th century, social classes has been a popular theme in various stories. When people were born in one class, they usually stayed in the same. Heathcliff was brought by Earnshaw at home to bring him up in his class, but he was snubbed by the Lintons and Harriton. Our exercise in here. Who is the writer of this novel? Of course, Emily Bronte, as we mentioned before. Wuthering Heights is Emily's space novel. This is her first and last novel. Who are the two main characters in Wuthering Heights? Of course, Catherine and Heathcliff. Space was a dark, dull and cold place to live in. This is about Wuthering Heights. Space was a warm and inviting house. It is Thrushcross Grange. The Lintons lived at Thrushcross Grange. Who was Cathy? This is Catherine's daughter. And who did Heathcliff marry? He married Isabella Linton. How many sons and daughters did Heathcliff have? He got one son. Space was considered as a minor character in Wuthering Heights. This is Mr. Earnshaw. Thank you for listening.